Welcome to the Dig podcast. So today I have Julie Hastings right beside me here, and it's such an honour to have her. Julie is a powerhouse in the world of business and hospitality. She has been part of the hugely successful business Hastings Hotels for 30 years. She's talked openly about the challenges of juggling motherhood and working full-time, but she's found a way that worked for her and her family, and she's been working full-time since 1988. Julie is the marketing director of Hastings Hotels, which includes, wait for it, such a lineup: Stormont Hotel, Ballygally Castle, Culloden Estate and Spa, Slieve Donard Resort and Spa, Europa Belfast, Everglades Hotel, and the amazing Grand Central Hotel where we are sitting right now. And sometimes I have to pinch myself that that's happening, but it's just such an honour to be here and to have her sitting beside me. Over the past 30 years, Julie be able to correct me on anything I'm saying wrong, but you know, I've been reading and researching all about her and the business, and I'm sure she's seen many changes, but none so much as in the past 18 months. In this podcast today, you will hear just how Hastings Hotels came to be, how Julie's role has changed over the years, and also we can't avoid the topic of the pandemic. Not that I ever wanted to rule my podcast, but it has had such a huge effect on hospitality, so we will touch on that as well. And we're going to hear about all the challenges facing hospitality at the minute and how Hastings Hotels have rose to the challenge at every opportunity by launching new and innovative marketing campaigns. This is an exciting new digital world we live in, and I want this podcast to help inspire you on your entrepreneurial journey. It's not easy juggling all the balls in the world of work, and I know that more than anyone. But I invite you to join thousands of our other listeners as we talk about all things money, marketing, hard times and successes. So get ready to be challenged and inspired. This is the Dig podcast. So Julie, thank you so much for coming. It's such an honour for me to have you sitting here. I've always looked up to Hastings and everything that they do, so thanks for coming. Can you, like, I did give an introduction there, but can you tell us a little bit, like, I don't know the whole background, obviously it's in your family a long time, but how has this all came to be?
Well, that's some introduction. Thank you very much.
I did my research
and you did indeed. And you've probably given away my age and everything, but 33 years is quite a long time.
Yes.
It was a family business, as you say, started by my grandfather, who owned some pubs in working class areas of Belfast, like the Shankle Road, the Lower Newton Ards Road. They were like working men's pubs. As things progressed, my father inherited those, and he ran those for a while, and then he saw an opportunity came along when the Stormont Hotel came for sale. There was no pub between the Lower Newton Ards Road and Dundonald, and he thought, oh, that would make a good pub. It had 10 bedrooms at the time. It now has 110.
Oh, wow.
And as it happened, the bedrooms were actually more popular and making more money than the bar itself. So he thought, oh, this hotel game's maybe a good game to be in. So he ran the Stormont more as a hotel than a pub. Then he bought some more hotels, including the Adair Arms Hotel in Ballymena, which was one of his first, the Culloden Estate and Spa, which was an early one as well, and Ballygally Castle. So the Culloden Hotel, you'd be interested to know, he bought for £100,000. Can you imagine, in the middle of Cultraw, the size of that hotel? You wouldn't get a terrace house now for £100,000, would you?
But when was that? What year?
1966 that was. So I was only a young girl at the time.
So 100,000, if you put it into today, though, that was still a massive amount of money, but not even near what it would be today. Like, but 100,000 was a lot. And
yeah, he started to sell off the pubs that he had to go into hotels. And so that's what happened.
He was some man.
Yeah. So, I mean, he was young himself at the time.
Yeah.
We were young children. And so he was young himself. So it was a daring thing to do, courageous thing to do. Mm-hmm. But he was courageous throughout his whole life, especially when he bought the Europa, when it was, before the end of the Troubles, and he bought it as a bombed-out shell. Yeah. So he was always very courageous. I don't know how he did it, but he left a great legacy behind. He died 4 years ago.
Oh, okay.
And he certainly left some legacy.
Definitely. Mm-hmm. Wow. And then, so keep going. Tell me then what happened and how you became part of...
I became involved. Well, I became involved in the late 80s. Mm-hmm. The Troubles were still on. I had been to Queen's University, then I'd done a master's degree in a university in Georgia. I got a scholarship to go there and do that, which I thoroughly enjoyed and loved, but still wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. You know, you sort of faff around a bit and play for time. And then I came back and my dad says, well, what are you going to do? So I travelled a bit. So I went into a travel agency thinking I'd be interested in that. And that was good for a while and gave me a good introduction to the sort of travel and tourism world. Then I left there and went to a market research company called MRNI. I don't think it's still going now, but at the time it was quite a big market research company. And I thought, oh, I quite like marketing. So I went back to Ulster University, or the University of Ulster as it was then. It had just become the university. It was Polytech before, before that. So I went back and did a nighttime course in the university in marketing, a postgraduate diploma in marketing. And then I said, right, this is what I want to do. So my father approached me one day whenever I was working and said, I was working in a computer company then in the Midland building. The Hastings Hotels Group head office was in the Midland building at the time. That again was another hotel in Belfast City Centre in York Street, which was kind of the centre of town at the time. But during the Troubles, and then the Europa was built, the centre moved to Great Victoria Street, and suddenly the Midland wasn't very important or, you know, a really good hotel anymore. So he made it into offices, rented out the offices, and they had a Hastings Hotels at the top floor. I worked in a computer company on the ground floor, so I saw him coming and going, and he said, how are you getting on? What are you doing? And I said, yeah, I'm getting on fine. And he said, we're looking for somebody in sales. Would you be interested?
Is this your
My dad
daddy
said
was
to me that.
Right, okay.
Yes. And I said, but I don't do sales. I do marketing. And he said, is it not the same thing? And he said, because lots of places had sales and marketing managers.
Yes.
So it was just sort of like the same thing. And he says, not the same thing. And I said, no, it's not. And he said, well, what's the difference? And I said, okay, give me an interview and I'll tell you. So he gave me an interview and agreed to give me a job as marketing manager. Subsequently, my sister came in as sales manager because she did have a proper selling background. And so I created the marketing department in Hastings Hotels. There really wasn't anybody doing that.
Yes.
So, I began to sort of create, back in the day, it wasn't digital, there was no internet, nothing like that.
So what was it? Just give us a look into what you would have been doing in 1988 as marketing manager at Hastings, so we can see how things have changed.
If I can remember back to then.
So what type of thing? Well, obviously it was traditional paper, paper, print,
It was a lot of print work, creating a plan, a marketing plan based on print work, newspaper articles, that sort of thing, buying promotional gifts, doing promotions with third parties, albeit retail third parties, or working with the tourist board, they were there at the time, and doing promotions with them, that sort of thing. Very, very different. But I built it up and made a busy sort of department for myself, and then I was able to take on some support.
So you couldn't be doing all those hotels by yourself.
Yeah, well, that's it.
You were at the start, though. Was that the way it was? You were the only one?
I was the only one, I was the only one doing marketing. So it was a matter of, before there were kind of agencies involved. So my father used a PR man. He used an advertising agency to place advertising and that sort of thing. So I said, give me a job and I can do that. So I was able to do those things. And so he no longer needed the outside external help that he had.
He must have been so proud to have you there marketing and his other daughter in sales.
Well, she came along a couple of years later. My brother came along in between times and did like an operational job. Hard.
And is everybody still, very much?
And I have another sister now who came a bit later, and she's now events director. So she does things like the tribute bands at Christmas, the wedding fairs, the Van Morrison concerts, the Priest concerts, all these sort of big events that come along and take place. She looks after those. So my job has changed a lot. The digital world has come along.
I know. Tell us about that then. So what's happening? Like, I know it's so different. Things have changed so much. like what is a typical digital marketing strategy for a hotel or somewhere like this?
I don't think there's such a thing as a typical marketing strategy.
Yes.
But we do have 7 hotels. We have a group, we have a website which reflects the 7 hotels, and currently I'm working on separating. Everything changes so quickly.
I know.
So you have a group and you have 7 hotels, and then you need to separate them out and have 7 different websites, which is quite a job to do in itself. So we have 2 on our digital team, Matt and Donna, and one does social media in the main. The other does the sort of technical digital website job.
Yes.
And then we have a student that looks after graphic design for us.
Okay.
One of the changes during the pandemic was we had to cut back. We had to cut back radically across the group. So I did lose a marketing manager and also our design agency that we used, which was a bit sad and difficult at the beginning, but the argument was we're not going to need as much stuff printed. People can't touch stuff, people can't lift stuff and read it, and that's, we're not going to need the amount of printing we had. We're not going to need as much design work. Slightly difficult, but when things started to come back, we did need more, but not to the same extent. So I gave a position to a student from the university to give a bit of an opportunity there.
Can I ask how that, like, there'll be business owners listening thinking, I would love a student. How, I mean, as in, how does that work? Like, do you approach the university for that? Is that, and is that just reach out to a certain department? How does that work?
Yeah, what I did was, well, I work in the university, I do visiting lectures, so I'm a visiting professor.
Okay.
And so
I forgot to mention that too, all those things you done. You do.
So I go in and I give talks and lectures, so I have contacts in the university.
Okay.
But anyone can, you don't need to have contacts in the university.
Yes.
You approach the university and you say, I want to give a year's placement. The students all need year's placements.
Oh, right, okay.
Or,
that's so interesting.
Or industry placements, albeit whether it's a year or whatever it is.
Yes.
But I wanted somebody for a year to be able to train them up. And so this student that I've got is between 3rd and 4th year and needs a year out for experience.
Yes.
And so I went to the marketing department, I went to the hospitality department, I went to the graphic design department, different ones, got a few to interview, and chose this girl from who's a graphic design student, because that's the gap I needed to fill.
Yes.
But that's what you would do if you do need to.
Yeah.
If you do need to take on a student.
Yeah, I don't think people realise that process exists. They just, sometimes always wondering how that happens. So that's so interesting to know. So yeah, so whenever I did in the last series talk about COVID a lot, and people are like, oh my goodness, do I have to keep talking about it? But especially in hospitality, like what was that like, that time for all these magnificent, gorgeous hotels to be closed?
To be closed.
Stopped, like...
Completely closed.
How did that...
When I say completely closed, there were a few exceptions. We were allowed to stay open for 3 main things. Key health workers, and they mainly came to this hotel.
Oh, right.
It was, you did it because it was good to do it, but you maybe got 15, 20 rooms a night in a 300-bedroom hotel, and you still have to switch on the lights and bring in staff. Didn't really make us anything, but it was a good thing to do.
Yes.
We were allowed to take elite sports. So Northern Ireland football team were playing a visiting team, for example. So, and the Northern Ireland women's team, they mainly stayed in the Stormont, and they were allowed to carry on playing behind closed doors, as you know. And the other one that did give us quite a bit of business was Screen Northern Ireland, the actors and the workers that are making movies here at the moment.
Oh, yes, okay.
So there's Netflix movies going on. There's
you probably know all the inside info, Julie. So that's interesting. So there was plenty going on in that.
There was quite a lot going on in that, and we did a wee bit more through that, and that was quite good. But again, it wasn't a great experience for them because they came to the hotel, they just sit in their rooms, they could get a bite to eat as room service because the restaurants weren't allowed to be open. They couldn't go out, they could go out for a walk, but there were no shops open in town.
Yes.
But they were working hard on set, apparently, so they were happy enough to come and stay and chill out in their rooms here. So those were the 3 main kind of areas that we were allowed to open for. So we opened the Clod and the Stormont and the Grand Central to accommodate those. But as I say, we didn't get full houses or anything like that.
No, I know.
Brought in a very minimal number of staff to look after them.
Yes.
Rest of the staff were more or less on furlough. support did come from the government by means of furlough and by means of sort of grant assistance and that kept us afloat. Loans from the bank, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Difficult for everybody,
Oh, I
not
know.
just us, but the whole industry and all the industries. But that's how we sort of managed.
Okay.
Marketing-wise, I did come into work and tried to keep the brand alive, if you like, by doing social media posts. So we had general managers out cutting the grass or picking rhubarb from the herb garden or making apple pies for the other staff that were in the kitchen. Just things, just little things to say, we're still here and we're smiling at you and we want to see you coming back. And we got great engagement. People laughed and people put up their own photographs and loved it, and there wasn't a lot else that we could do except for that. But the other thing I did do, which the timing was good, was I decided to, with the financial help of Tourism Northern Ireland, make a television advert.
I know.
Have you seen it?
Yes, please tell me now all about this. I'll just say I was sitting the other night. Obviously, knew you were going to be on the podcast. Seeing this amazing, I don't really watch ads on TV anymore because people skip ads.
Fast forwards. Yeah.
But this happened to be on, and it just caught me, and it was so magical. So tell me about it.
Yeah. Well, during lockdown, as I say, Tourism Northern Ireland said they had started this campaign for the staycation market because people weren't going to be able to travel. So staycations was going to be what was going to bring us business when we opened up again. So they started a campaign called Embrace a Giant Spirit.
Yes.
And you could see all the things to see and do, and their ads were very good. But they said, we can't really do this alone. So if the industry come in with us and support us, we will support them financially to do so. So the first part of what I did was during the first lockdown, and what I was able to do was, with empty hotels and stuff, go in with the cameras and take videos, do shots without disturbing any customers or anything like that. And we did a lot of photography and videography during lockdown, because now you can't have lots of people in photos anyway, so it worked okay. Then I approached, we needed music for the ad, and it was like, what are we going to do? So I said, right, give me a chance with this. Might work, might not, but I have a friend in Dublin whose daughter is a great wee singer, and she's only 18 years of age. She's been on things like The Voice Kids, she's been on The X Factor, she's been on Britain's Got Talent. She actually sang when she was 7 years of age with Whitney Houston in the RDS. So this is my friend's daughter. So I said to my friend, listen, I'm doing this and I don't know where to start with music. I can't use anything well known because that just costs an arm and a leg for the rights of it. But I had in my head, well, it was put into my head by another artistic person that from A.V. Brown that we used to use, and then I brought them on a project basis for this and said, would you oversee this, like art direct this ad, but I'm not sure what to do for music. And Stephen Brown from A.V. Brown said, do something like the Bjork song where it starts off really gentle and quiet, it ramps up into a big jazzy song. You know that one, Oh So Quiet? You know, and it starts off shh, and then it ramps up into like sort of jazzy piece, and then it goes quiet again. Do something like that and have your video reflecting that, where people, you know, you have a couple in bed, they wake up in the morning, they open the curtains, they look out, they say, oh look, it's a lovely day outside. So they go for breakfast and then they go out and they climb mountains, ride bikes, swim in the sea, ride horses, and do all the things that you can see that you see happening on the ad. So, and then they come back and they have their cocktail, they go to the spa, they go to bed, and that's the end of their day. So it's a whole day in 60 seconds. So I went to my friend and her daughter and I said, could you write something along the lines of what I just described? And my friend's a concert pianist in Dublin. My daughter's a singer, and about 2 days later I got this sort of like just a song sung and played out in chords on the piano by my friend, and I went, gosh, I really like that. think of what we could do if we got that to Soundhouse to
Yes.
make something of it. And the wording was exactly the wording that you can hear, you know. You know, there's so much time to sleep, but
Yeah.
get up and I can't remember. I've heard it a million times. I can't remember the words, but if you listen,
I will link. We have show notes for every podcast, so
Yeah.
I'll link the ad
will you
in the
link it?
show notes, and then people
Okay.
can see what we're talking about. But it's really special.
yeah, there's a 90-second one, a 60-second one, and then a 30-second one for each of the hotels. But
Yes.
the 90 and 60 seconds are what you've seen on TV, and that's for the whole group. And you
And what do
see
you
all
call
the
the girl
hotels.
again, the singer?
Sina Donnelly.
Sina Donnelly.
Sina Donnelly from
Okay.
Dublin. So it was wonderful, and she came up and she performed the song in Soundhouse, you know, on the Hollywood Road, and they mixed it and did what they had to do and put it to the video that Chris Heaney had was a videographer. And gosh, the compliments that we're getting are great.
Oh, honestly,
really, really
I never really
good.
paid much attention, but I did to ads, but I did to that one.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was brilliant. So,
Well, that
so
was
you've
my
been-
lockdown
Okay,
project.
well
60
done.
seconds,
You
but
weren't
it
sitting
took
with your feet
months.
up. Yeah.
But it did take months. But certainly, and now there's a radio ad as well. You'll hear it on U105 Cool FM and stuff.
Okay.
And that Ian McElhinney is talking over Sina's tune.
Okay.
Just the sound of her tune.
Yes.
So you'll see that. You'll hear that as well.
Yeah.
So, no, we were pleased with it. We
Yeah.
were really pleased.
So
but I had
when-
lots of time to think about it and concentrate on it.
Yes, I
You
time
know.
you would never had any
Yeah,
other
anyway.
time. And when you create an ad like that, is that something that then is put out digitally as well, like on
Yeah.
social and all of that?
It's
Like,
on a social, on our digital channels, on YouTube, on Spotify, and others. Somebody said the other day they heard it, and I said, "Oh, where'd you hear it on?" "Oh, the GAA channel." I didn't know there was a GAA channel, but on the GAA channel in Dublin.
Okay.
Virgin Media
Wow.
was another. So yeah, a lot of different channels that, you know, I mean, again, they're out there, but you don't really know that they exist. But
yeah.
The Dig podcast is all about educating my listeners, but it's so important to me that it is also a place to gain exposure. Each week, we open up the podcast to brands and business owners to pitch to you guys. I can't wait for you to hear from this week's business.
My name is Joanna Scullion and I am the founder and owner of HR Made Easy. I am on a mission to educate and empower small business owners to take control of HR in their business. I was delighted to be a guest on the podcast in the last season, and I am delighted to be involved in this series as a sponsor. How I help small business owners is by helping you to take control of the HR in your business. And without a doubt, the only way to do that is to put strong foundations in place. The cornerstone foundation for any employer is to have your employee contracts in place. And that is what I help you with. I have 3 packages, from a do-it-yourself version right the way through to a VIP version where I do it with you. As well, my flagship HR Made Easy membership launched in June of this year. The membership is built around 3 core pillars. HR training masterclasses, where I train you in bite-sized chunks on the topic of that month. HR template library, where I give you access to all the resources, the templates, the letters, the forms that you need to implement HR in your business. And then the 3rd pillar, HR mentoring, the glue that holds it all together. In the middle of every month, all my members are invited to a Zoom with me, where you can bring your real life issues and I mentor you in that session on what you need to do in your business. I am delighted to help small business owners, and after 22 years in the business, I have seen pretty much everything that there is to see. So there's no judgment when you work with me. As I said, I'm here simply to make your HR easy. If you'd like to work with me or find out more, you can find out everything you need to know on joannascullion.com.
it's certainly spread around.
Yes,
And
so
so many
great
people have heard
advertisement for
it.
the hotels and what they offer. And I actually didn't know that, you know, some of the hotels were actually part of the Hastings, one of the ones that were advertised. But and then I went and looked at your Instagram account and seen it all tied together. So it got me thinking. So I'm sure it's getting other people thinking as well.
Yeah.
So really well done. It was
And,
amazing.
and Tourism Northern Ireland were very pleased because it included all the things to see and do.
It did.
That a lot of them were sort of inspired by the Embrace the Giant Spirit campaign, and then we were able to use their branding at the end too to enable us to get assistance with it.
Yeah.
So that was the way it turned
in
out.
a lot of the podcasts, Julie, we talk about collaborations and how they can help your business grow and get in front of new eyeballs. So that's certainly a good example too of collaborating with
yeah.
Tourism NI. So would you like advise that like in all kind of marketing aspects, as in to try and team up with other brands and businesses that can...
I think it's happened more now since the pandemic than ever before,
it really has.
because people need each other, and you know, they don't. It doesn't feel so competitive now. They do need each other. So I mean, I've collaborated with. Oh, I'll tell you another example.
Oh yes, please. Do.
Macomb's coaches.
Okay.
Caroline Macomb, I'm very friendly with, her and her husband Rodney. And Line of Duty was on at the time. Now, Macomb's do Game of Thrones tours and Giant's Causeway tours. And I said to, well, it was actually Fiona Brown that put me in touch with you as well. I can't take all the credit for myself, but Fiona Brown said, why don't you and Caroline get together and do a Line of Duty tour? So that's what we did. And so that was a good collaboration. Every Saturday and Sunday now, people meet in the Grand Central. They have their lunch. They get a Line of Duty duck, which is one of our ducks. We're well known for the rubber ducks.
After, yes,
And this one has Northern Ireland phrases all over it. You know, the way Line of Duty was, Adrian Dunbar, Ted, was famous for coming up the lagging in a bubble and Jesus Mary, Joseph and the Wee Donkey, all that stuff that we all knew and loved. So this is all full of Northern Ireland phrases too. And so they get lunch, they get a duck, and then they go out for an hour and a half
on the coach,
and they do all the settings around Belfast that Line of Duty went to. And Macomb's have a guide, and apparently he's wonderful. I'm going out next week, and he's wonderful, and he does the whole story. And then they come back and they get a Line of Duty cocktail in the observatory, because you know people love going to the observatory, which is the 23rd floor of the bar in the Grand Central.
Yes.
So they get a what do they get? They get an AC12.
Or what's it, an AC12 now?
Oh, no, don't be asking me. You have to go and see yourself.
It sounds like a good one.
The mocktail is called the Wee Donkey, so you can have an AC12 or a Wee Donkey. Anyway,
people love it.
It's doing so well. It's filling. The coaches are filling every weekend. Caroline says we'll have to put on a Wednesday, so we haven't started that yet.
That's amazing.
At the moment, I think they're 26-seater coaches, but we're going to make them bigger because the hotel was too busy to take any more in the observatory. So we're going to put on 53-seater coaches, or I'll talk to Caroline about it maybe in October, November, when things quieten down after this staycation market is quietening down. So that was another good collaboration, and now we're talking about doing a Derry Girls tour.
Oh, tell us about that. Everybody loves the Derry Girls.
I know. Well, the Derry Girls tour is great if you're in Derry, but there's so many from Belfast that maybe haven't done it, so we thought, let's put on a coach from Belfast. We've collaborated with a company that does Derry Girls tours in Derry, obviously, like a World City tour, and seeing all the places that the Derry Girls, the programme, visited. And then we bring them back to the Everglades, and they get a Derry Girls afternoon tea.
What does a Derry Girls afternoon tea look like now? I can't imagine. Is it?
It's
not the traditional afternoon tea.
Do you want to know? Sausage rolls in a bab.
Lovely, yes.
Tater cheese and onion crisps.
Unreal.
Cones of chips.
Class.
Cream horns.
Love it.
And a Derry Girls duck.
Unreal. That's fantastic.
I should have brought some ducks with me to show you.
We've got a wee duck in the bathroom there. But so, like, if people think of the Hastings Hotels, you get the image that it's very grand, that it wouldn't be someone like you organising collaborations with local businesses like that. Like, that is unreal to hear that. But I think it's good inspiration for businesses to hear that. Like, reach out to people, see what you can do together to grow.
Well, the other thing is, and one of the challenges, which isn't in the marketing remit, but an HR challenge, is staffing at the moment.
Yeah.
So businesses have to get together and have to talk to each other about their problems and about their issues to see what can they do to make things better. And that has been a challenge for us.
I see you have a recruitment day tomorrow.
Yep, there was a recruitment day yesterday in the Culloden. There's a recruitment day tomorrow, I think, here.
Yeah.
No, here in the Grand Central. And and we just put it out that we're looking for these jobs and people come along. But it's just been a wee bit tough.
I know.
People have rethought their lives and things like that, you know.
I spoke to one of your staff members in the Seahorse restaurant yesterday, and he said that during lockdown, the hotel group were so good at sending through like you know, podcasts to listen to help your mental health and all these things, you know. So he felt, he told me, we were just chatting, you know, that he felt the hotel supported their staff so well during that time. So I thought that was lovely to hear.
That's nice.
I know, I thought it was nice. And he didn't know I was going to be talking to you or anything.
Right,
that's not why he said it. But so then I saw the recruitment day up last night, and you know, I put it up on social just for everybody to know, because working somewhere like this with someone like you, the driving force behind marketing, like it's not like it attached big people that don't care. So I thought that was lovely. But so tell me about the duck. I haven't that written in my notes, but where did that start? And look how that's grown, and now it's on every coach going to all the different cities. So where did that really come from? That was you.
That was me. That was me. I read about somewhere years and years ago, maybe in the early 90s, that rubber ducks in the bath relieve your executive stress. It was an article for business people in like the Guardian or Observer or one of the magazines, whatever.
Yes.
And I was like, looking at it and laughing, and I thought, we should try that. And I got a few and put them in one of the hotels in the bathrooms and went, look what I got, and bring them down to breakfast. Look what I got a duck. Why didn't I get a duck? I didn't get one. Can you buy these? And the interest, no social media or anything at the time, but the interest mouth to mouth, by word of mouth, was great. So again, I sort of said, can I have the budget to buy a few more of these? So it went on.
What kind of budget do you need for ducks in every room in every hotel in the Hastings Group? A big enough budget?
Well, I'll tell you what we buy. Before lockdown, and obviously the rooms weren't selling, we were getting through 100,000 ducks a year.
Oh my goodness.
And which is crazy.
Crazy. Because everybody takes them home, right?
Yeah, people take them home.
Yeah. For their kids and all. I take them home for the boys, you know.
People say they've got loads. And
you're allowed to take them home, aren't you?
Oh, you're allowed to take them home, yeah.
That's right.
That's what they're there
roll
for.
them at home.
Yeah, that's what they're there for. But that means you've stayed quite a few times. That's good.
I know,
unless you've nicked them.
No, when I was a guest.
So, no, but people now use them, put them on Instagram, on social media and stuff. So we're getting better publicity out of having them now.
Yeah.
And this is my argument to the financial director. How much are we spending on ducks?
He would say that to you, you mean?
Yeah,
or she would say that to you?
In a joke, yeah.
Yes. But no, it's definitely iconic for the brand.
Yeah,
you know?
it's iconic.
So the duck's changed. I can't believe the duck that's in my bathroom in there.
It's a seahorse. Reason for the seahorse is because it's on the coat of arms of Belfast.
Okay.
So we talked a little about that and trying to bring out the story of Belfast a little bit more in this hotel. So people do say, why the seahorse? And you get to tell the story.
Yeah.
So you'll see seahorses in quite a few places throughout the hotel. So it's a little seahorse, but I had a bit of a challenge on how to make a seahorse float.
Oh,
you know the way
I haven't tried to make it float.
So, well, it's kind of like a seahorse come dragon with a flat bit at the bottom. Anyway, we have, whenever there's different events come up, like the Giro was on a few years ago, you know, the cycling event. So we had a pink Giro duck because everything about the Giro was pink.
Yes.
We have Rory Quackleroy for the Irish Open.
Very good.
So that's a golfing duck like if I different.
Yes.
So Rory McIlroy's mum saw it and we thought, oh no, we didn't ask him permission. And she thought it was brilliant and wanted a whole box of them to send to him.
Yes, of course.
The football ducks when the football teams come in, just little football ducks. We have chef ducks that look like chefs called table duck. So if there's a food event or something like that on, we've got Kiss Me Quack ducks, which are Valentine's Day ducks.
Yes.
And we've Christmas ducks and we've got golden ducks now for the Europa is 50 years old this year.
Oh, right, okay.
So that's a bit of a secret because we haven't released them yet. But
and you've just told everybody.
I can't hold my water. So
do we need to edit this out? That's
no, it's fine.
Okay.
So no, Europa's 50 years old this year. Yeah. We haven't been able to do too much all year. But if you now look at the outside of the Europa, the whole outside central bit has all gone gold.
Oh, okay.
It used to be blue, it's all gold now. Inside I'm working on an installation, like a little museum area, just as you walk into the left. And that's going to tell the story of the 50 years of the Europa, so people can walk in. Some story. Yeah. So people can walk in and they can see it, and it'll be interactive. And we're also going to have an Instagram moment because people actually want to go to the roof of the Europa and get their pictures taken beside the sign.
Yes.
Which isn't really very safe.
No.
So we're going to recreate the sign inside.
Oh.
And so they can get
that's
the picture taken by
picture.
and that's the Instagram picture. Now it's not done yet. It should be done by the end of September, so everyone will have to come in and see what we've done. But that's what I'm working on at the moment. I had an awful lot of stories and books and stuff about the Europa. sort of just all in files in my room,
Yes.
in my office. And I thought, I've got to get these out.
Yes.
Got to get these out and on the walls for people to see. So I did this before with the Sleeved Honoured and created a museum in there called the 1897 room, because it was built in 1897. And a really good company called Tandem Design in Hollywood, they helped me they're like historians. They'll recreate the story and put it onto as I say, interactive pieces and that sort of thing. And a lot of people go in and they love that wee museum, because people say, when was the hotel built and what was the story, and was it an old railway hotel, is it a train station? And you send them in there and they can see it all and what the story was. So likewise with the Europa, we're going to be able to let them read the story. How many times was it bombed? All the questions that you get asked.
Yes.
The whole story will be
It's all
told
there.
in the hotel now for everyone to see. So that's our thing for the 50th year. We're going to be doing various other things as well. We're going to have we've got nice ideas in our heads about, from the 1970s, cocktails, menus, packages for people that maybe have their 50th wedding anniversary, their 50th birthday, anything golden, including golden ducks.
Golden ducks.
So that's...
So, like, it never stops, Julie. Like, you always have to be, like, I'm listening to you now and, like, there's something going on here and something going on there, but you have to always move like that, don't you? Especially now. Like, do you see it going so fast?
Got to keep being creative.
Aye, creative.
Yeah. It is going fast, and now I think my challenge is how fast the digital world's going.
Yes.
And I've got two very, very good digital people on my team, as well as a student. And don't I feel bad saying, how do you do this? And show me that again. And so I have this sort of vision. This is what I want to do now. Guys, can you help me do that, or can you do it?
Yeah.
And they're really great.
That's brilliant, though, that you have them to support you, because all those ideas can't be made happen if you don't have the right people on board.
And then we have a digital consultant as well, and she's called Hannah Corbett, and she is from a company called Get Digital, Northern Ireland.
Okay.
It's her company.
Yes.
She used to work for us full time, went out on her own, and she now works as a consultant for us. So she oversees and strategises and tells us what Google are bringing out next and what else is happening and how to keep ahead of the race. And this has worked out very well for us now as well.
Yeah.
So she comes in about once a week or once every 2 weeks, and we'll have a day with her, and you go away feeling, gosh, there's a lot going on out there.
Yeah, but motivated probably to embrace it.
But very motivated.
Yeah.
And so that's how we work.
Wow.
So things have really changed a lot.
They have, but you are moving forward, and if anybody's listening probably in hospitality that have been kind of feeling down the dumps, what I take from you saying is you're just taking things that already exist, building on them, telling the story, making the magic happen. That's what people expect now, isn't it?
That's it.
They want the magic.
I'm trying to keep ahead of the race, because other hotels, our competitors, are all doing brilliantly and all bringing out new things and new ideas. So we have to keep bringing out new things, new ideas, and trying to be that little bit different. And so, but I love it. I do love it. Yeah. And 33 years later, as you say, and things have changed so much, but
you're still moving forward with it. Some people put their head in the sand and can't cope with the changes, but you're just zooming on with golden ducks and all the rest.
Zooming on with golden ducks.
I've written here, like, we've talked about it all without me even asking you the questions about COVID and how you are doing now, but what advice, Julie, would you give to people in the sector, like staff on the ground and management, who are facing all of these changes as to how things are done now? Like, I suppose, like, everything's different about how you are in a hotel, the way, because of all the regulations and stuff. And I think, like, I've spoken to a lot of business owners and they're frustrated and it's not the way it used to be, and we can't cope with this. What advice would you give to people in the industry who are feeling like that?
It's a good industry, great industry to be involved in. It's a great degree to do at university, hospitality, and there's so much to it that you can build yourself up, you can progress, you can get qualifications, you can get degrees while you're working, and really there's a lot of opportunities. There really are, and just at the moment I think people are reassessing, what do I really want to do, but I think it'll come full circle. And certainly, as I told you, visiting professor in the university, and I've been speaking to staff and saying, are you having problems getting students? And they said, no, we're not. We are getting students, and things will come back.
Yeah, so that means then
we will get people looking jobs. Yes. So the University of Ulster here, or the Ulster University as they're now called, are really good and proactive.
Okay.
And they send us students all the time, as I say, for placements, and we just hope that we can give them a good experience.
Yeah.
A lot of 16 and 17-year-olds, a lot of young students in at the moment.
Yeah, and that's one of the guys, very mature though, that I met yesterday.
Yeah, and they're working away, and we want to give them a good time. We want them to think, yeah, this is a great industry to be in. My stepdaughter's one of them who works in the Europa, and she works a lot of hours, and for a 16-year-old, and she's going back to school next week, but she said, now, I want to keep my hand and I don't want to leave. I want to carry on working weekends, and I want to see my way around other departments. So she may end up doing hospitality, I don't know. She's just starting her A-level journey now.
Yeah.
And but that's the experience that we want to give them. That,
yeah.
You know, but the challenges have been busy hotels with the staycation market and training 16-year-olds quickly so that they can do what we need them to do.
I'm so excited to be able to finally launch the Dig Social Academy. It's something that I've been working on for so long, so the excitement is real. It'll be my first online course, and one that I just can't wait to deliver. It's a social media bootcamp, and is suitable for anybody wanting to learn techniques on how to navigate through Facebook and Instagram. I know that's not easy sometimes. So as well as learning to navigate through those platforms, we'll also learn how to create content that gets you noticed online. So if you would like to be part of the Social Media Academy, then follow my Instagram, Dig for Success, send me a message, and I'll send you a direct link to the course. It's going to be amazing.
So things are busy
but they're
again.
willing.
Things are busy again. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah.
Like after post-pandemic, people are out, hotels are busy.
Yeah, very busy for leisure business. Not so busy for conferences and events at the moment like that.
But we will, I'm praying that all comes back.
I mean, I personally do not like Zoom or any derivation of Zoom, whether it's Google Hangouts or Microsoft Teams. I just want to see people face to face and have a cup of coffee and gauge people's personality face to face, because you can't really do that in Zoom.
I know.
And I also
Zoom
think
sucks
that
the life out of you.
Yeah, and conferences, you know, the big ideas often come afterwards, whether it's in the bar or over a cup of tea or on the golf course. That's where really the ideas come. After you've sort of finished on your Zoom call, you click it off and go, phew.
Thank God that's over.
Thank goodness that's over. And then, another one in 5 minutes. Oh, no. Whereas, you know, I like to do the whole face-to-face thing where you really do gauge people's personalities and get talking to them properly.
I know.
And can kick them under the table if you need to. Or whatever you do that you can't do on Zoom.
I know.
But Zoom was funny at the beginning because, you know, working from home, and I didn't know how to use it. And my kids were in the house and first Zoom, and I can't find this. How do you get... And I was calling them, Caitlin, come here. Rach, how do you do this? How do you do this? Oh, Mum, you just do this. And then you go on and come back. They can't hear me. They can't hear me. Unmute yourself, Mum. So at the beginning, I struggled. But luckily, I did have the kids in the house to help me. They're big kids now, but
struggled with that. Thank God we're moving out of that now. And as you say, hopefully conferences, like we had the social media awards in the Europa last year.
Yeah.
And it, like, the magic, almost 2 years ago now.
2 years ago.
Oh, I can't believe I'm saying that. The magic of having everyone there and that kind of event, I just can't wait for that to happen again. So hopefully it's soon, fingers crossed.
It is happening again, isn't it?
It's happening in May.
Yeah.
And the Culloden this year.
That's
we're
right.
going to. But yeah, I just mean that whole buzz and excitement of having people there and just loving life for that night is just amazing.
Yes.
But yeah, I could talk to you all day, but my God, you're busy and you need to fly on. But thank you so much for being here. If anybody wants to follow now, like I will be linking the advert, but we follow you on. A lot of people who listen are active on social, and also on social, all the hotels have their own handles, but then
there's a Hastings Hotels Group one as well.
Yes, so Hastings Hotel on Instagram and Facebook. I think it's still a Hastings Hotels as well. And so everybody will be following the journey now that they can put a face to the big brand that you wouldn't have thought of having just one face to it. But yeah, I'm delighted to have had you here, and thank you so much.
Well, everybody's most welcome. I hope to see people about the hotels, and we're doing well, and things are coming back to normal. So
good.
Fingers crossed.
Yes.
Thank you very much
Thank
indeed.
you.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another week of the Dig podcast. If you missed anything, we've made some show notes for you with all the links and all the good stuff we've talked about today. Remember, if you do listen to an episode, screenshot it and share it on social. Remember to tag me so that I see it and I can reshare on my platform. I love to see everyone tuning in each week. It has been an honour to be your host. I look forward to our next episode.